Okay, it's, what is the time? It's 11:30. This is Thursday. We're inside my house. I won't show you too much because I'm embarrassed by the state it's in. Rubbish all over the place. Very untidy. Not the tidiest of people. Here we go. There's some reproductions of posts, engravings and paintings, and a whole lot of other junk, piles of books and more paintings and general rubbish. Coming outside now, there's some bird-eating spiders, if you're interested in that sort of thing. There he is, he's moving around there. Loads of those all over the place. This is my house. My little dog has just run up the path into the village. There he is. There she is. That's the outside of the place. As you can see, nothing too swish, but comfortable. Now, this is Vila Velha. This is the church. This is the oldest church in Brazil. It's still existing. We have proved that it was here in 1526. This is the general view from just up here, from on top of my house, alongside the church. That's Mucky, my little dog. She's limping there because we have what are known as bicho de pé here. It's actually a flea. It's called Pulex penetrans, and it digs into their paws and lays eggs. It's very difficult to cure, but it doesn't really do them much harm. Now, as you can see, this is the disgusting, horrible view that I have to look at every day. This is the same view that Sebastian Caboto, Americo Vespuccio in 1501 and 1503 gazed upon when they were here. There probably was not quite so much vegetation on that little island there, although that island did exist in 1640. There's mention of it. Today it's called the Coroa de Avión, but back then it was called the Coroa de Passarinhos, because it traditionally is, or was until they started making noise there, a resting place for migrant birds on their travels flying thousands of miles. This, of course, I forgot to explain, this here is the Canal Santa Cruz. This is what the Indians called Jussara, and it is what was Pernambuco. This is Pernambuco. This piece of channel here, this is part of the channel that goes around the island. That's the continent over there, you can see in front on the hill with the houses. That is the mainland, and this channel goes right the way round the island, and we'll walk down here. As you can see, things are still fairly rustic here. We're getting the ladies hang their washing out to dry in the square alongside the church. There we go. These things are sent to try us. Now, what we can see here, again, that's all mangrove there. Actually, on the hill over there, what we can see is Igaraçu, which is 6 kilometers in a straight line. Let's see if we can zoom in there, if I can keep my hand steady enough. There we are. That's the Jesuit building there, that big one. There is the church Cosme Damião, which everyone thinks is the oldest church in Brazil, but it isn't. It's our one here. Okay, that's there. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'll give you a quick look around the church. They've started making noise in the square, which is typically Brazilian. This is the church. See, obviously this frontis is much later. It has the date on it there. You can see. I'll just zoom in. 1889. That was the last time it was built up. The bell tower was probably put in about 1850. Quick look inside. Obviously the church has been expanded upon. This here is this part here, the nave, is part of the original church. Here we can see this archway, that stone there that's exposed. The church was restored, that's a very loose term, in about 1985-86. That there is the pulpit. There was, in this side chapel, there was an entrance to a set of stairs that were outside that led up to that pulpit. There's no longer the wooden balustrade around it, but there we are. And we have, over here there's a bit of folklore. This was a well that was discovered in the restoration in about 1985. I don't know if you can see that there, we're rather close, but it's I have some very bad photographs of there, but nobody knows what it was. It obviously wasn't a well for water. It's the water table here is about 50 metres down. It may have been a deposit for water, but I personally believe it was a hidey hole for hiding the church silver candlesticks and their chalices and all their other stuff. There've been quite a few relatively famous people have been planted here upon their demise. In fact, Cornelissen Loos, in 1640, Cornelissen Loos, the Dutch admiral, who was killed on the first day of battle, the Battle of Itamaracá, that lasted 5 days. The Dutch brought him here to the church secretly and buried him here so that their soldiers and sailors didn't get too upset and abandon the fight. Here's an interesting little thing. I noticed on Shalom Morris's talk on his blog, he mentioned a place where they put down the water that was involved in the rabbi's blessing. Well, this is the Catholic equivalent. That little hole down there, that's where they you couldn't just chuck the holy water out anywhere with the baby in it. So they had these little special little holes in the floor where holy water could be disposed of. This out here is the tomb of the skull of Padre Tenorio, who was a hero of the Pernambuco Revolution of 1817. He got his head cut off and put on a stake here, and eventually his skull came back here to be put in there. We'll get all the bits together and we'll put him back together. What else do we have here of interest? There are all sorts of architectural and archaeological interesting bits and pieces. You can see the line of stonework from the original church, or part of the original church, and then where it's been built upon raised. Although in all the old iconography and whatever, and paintings and drawings, it is shown as being a two-floor building, which most of the chapels weren't. And there are things like say there's the arrow holes. Then you've got all these other bits and pieces that are probably original. This thingy here for holy water, and then we have this part of this stonework here at the bottom of the altar with the lozenge. The lozenge apparently was very popular in Tudor times as a decoration for furniture, as we can see Here in the sacristia, we have, in the sacristy, we have this tremendous chest of drawers. It's made of jacaranda. Now, apparently, this dates or was mentioned in documents that are in Spain in a will from some Francisco de Torres in before 1575. I have no idea if that's true. Apparently the document is there in Salamanca, I think, but I haven't been able to get hold of it or copy or confirm this. But it came from a reasonable source. This carved surround here, surrounding the Madonna, just recently the villagers decided it would seem to be made of cedro, which is South American cedar, and they decided to varnish it, which of course is absolute sacrilege, but there we are. They managed to varnish some of the wall too. These are the things. Oh, look at that. That's my dog being reverent there to the Madonna. This thingy here, which obviously is for water, it doesn't actually belong to this church. This comes from the Slaves Church, which is just up the road. We may be able to see it from this window. Yes, I'm not sure if you can see that right down the bottom of the street there. That ruin there is the village cemetery, and that is, or was, the original, the Slaves Church. From before the Dutch arrived here, that was probably where maracatu, the folk dance and drum beating stuff, actually started. Henry Costa in 1814 witnessed the crowning of the King of Congo there. But going back to this pier, this water thingy. In 1967, a doctor who lived here on the island was visiting, and he saw this down there by the woods down by that other church, by the Slaves Church. And when he asked the villagers, they said, oh, some gentlemen were coming from town with a truck to take it away. Somebody was stealing it. So he organised that it should be brought here into the main church and plastered into the wall, so to avoid it being stolen. Now we can see this would be part of probably this stonework here would probably be part of the original. Get out of it, monkey. This is the church. You're not supposed to do stuff like that. Probably part of the original structure. It's kind of difficult because the archaeologists and architects and all the other historians and bods who were involved in 85 in restoring this church have not published any of their findings, which is extremely frustrating, probably because they're embarrassed by them. But there we are. That's the church. So this is going to be a fairly lengthy video now because I spent quite a bit of time there. I think here we have the political noise, which is completely illegal here. This being a historic site, they're not supposed to make that noise here. But this is Brazil. Okay, now this is the main square. This here, which is looking it's been broken. Why has that been broken? No, I'm just seeing this for the first time. This is actually Pau Brazil. But something has broken branches off of there. I can't think. Oh, it's these idiots with their light. Good God. Okay. Well, that is Pau Brazil. There we are. I made some little signposts to explain to the visiting public that this is what originally all the invasion was about here. This is what they were after. This is the wood that they get the red dye from, And they also make the bows for violins. It's still considered the best material, better than all this other carbon fibre and all this other plastic Japanese technological stuff. Now, this thing here is called the Pelourinho, which of course it isn't, but it probably does mark the spot. There's a general misconception about Pelourinhos. Pelourinhos were in fact, their true value was symbolic, but it's grown into folklore that the Pelourinho was a post that the slaves were tied to get whipped. Well, in actual fact, what it really was, it was a symbol that symbolised that the authority of the independence of the municipal area. In this case, the prefectura. Generally, they were posts, and they were used for lashings, but not just for slaves, for anybody. Anybody who had been caught selling goods underweight, or just generally misbehaving, or stealing from their neighbours, or whatever, any kind of minor naughtiness, they could get lashed on the Pelourinho. But originally, its original idea is, and that's why very few of them survived, because when Brazil became independent from the Portuguese royal family, a lot of these Pelourinhos were actually destroyed because they symbolised the authority of the colonial power. So that's part of the explanation there. Now this disgusting aberration here was put here by the local council, who are well, I won't even go into explaining what they are, but this here, if there are any architects among you, this is their idea of what to do with outflow from toilets. It's basically just a hole in the ground. I've explained to them how they should, and by law, be making septic tanks, but of course that doesn't work, and it doesn't gain me any friends. But there we are, such is life. So this is Vila Velha. Now, this being the main square, I'm going to walk up here and we'll go past some of the historical points that figure here. See the general layout of the village. We have the Asamblea de Dios, yeah, one of the louder Protestant cults who are absolutely everywhere in South America. You got the smallest village, and they're completely they pay no taxes. You can see how the whole building is covered in ceramic floor tiles, which is completely illegal here. Because and all aluminium window frames and doors, that is supposedly not allowed here, being a historic site. But of course these people do whatever they want to do, which is kind of sad. Here we have the local dogs, their committee of greeting my little dog, who will no doubt beat the crap out of all of them, of which she is supremely capable. But there we are. Okay, we're coming up now to the top end of the village, and this is where one of the important historic and archaeological features of the village from the 16th century I imagine that in fact a lot of the stuff here was from as early as 1530. I mean, we do know that Pero Capico came here sent by Don Manuel in 1516 to organise sugar production and organise a villa. Okay, this here, as you can see by these stones, this stone here, it's kind of difficult to show the topography here. As you can see, more stones here. This water tank was built on top of what were the foundations of the council building, which was, they had this wonderful system in Portugal where the council chambers was a two-story building, the ground floor being a prison and the upper floor being the council chamber where the councillors, the vereadores or escabinos, would meet and decide the fate of their electorate. Or I don't think very many of them were elected, they sort of elected themselves, ruled by the most powerful. Now here we can see this stone here. This is the sort of thing that we're talking about for the other place. Oh dear, my dog is chasing chickens. Mucky, leave the chickens alone! Wait! So there we are. Now this is part. Shh, Mucky! Mucky! Oh dear, doesn't do well for the neighbours this. But as you can see, this here, this was. Shh, Mucky! 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 Shh, leave him alone! Come here! Now! Come here! Mucky! This is awfully tedious. Come here! Actually, she's only playing with them, she's just chasing them around, she's not chewing them up. She used to chew them up, which is somewhat embarrassing. Okay, well, I found Dutch bricks, the ones that came from Frisia, the little yellow ones. In fact, there was one here that was when some of the young university students came to visit here, and I brought them up here. One of them pointed out a brick here, a Dutch brick, and they didn't touch it, but another time I came back, it's actually gone. It was here on the surface, but there are you find them all over the place. But this is obviously one of the places where the Dutch did actually extend or improve the existing buildings, the existing Portuguese buildings. So. And this on the map that I consider to be a spy's map, the one that shows the redoubt and the other things, the one that's in my article about the synagogue in 1634 here, which is probably actually 1635. But now this is the line where the Captain Toulon and his son, Teniente Toulon, had their houses. There is if you look on the map, there's a line of houses, and then just a little bit more to the above here, there's a fence line that goes across. But now we're going to carry on walking up to where was the other building of substance here. You see some of these large foundation stones have just been the local council and a local terrateniente, a landowner who seems to think that he's in charge here. They've actually run a tractor and plough over these ruins. It's pointless to try and explain the error of their ways. They seem to have difficulty understanding such things. But we'll continue now. On the paintings, the Franz Post's paintings and engravings that you'll have seen of Itamaracá, it shows an escarpment. Now, some people think that this is where Salvador Pinheiro, who was the Captain Moor here when the Dutch arrived in 1630, some people think that he dug this to make it steeper, but actually I don't think it was this part at all, because it's actually huge. It would require an incredible amount of work to. Again, it's covered in vegetation, you can't really see it, but just down here the land just drops away. I'll indicate this on one of the paintings. That's the end. Over there, that's the estuary of the Rio Igaraçu, and that hill is over the other side. There is where Franz Post sat when he made the drawing for the painting of his that is in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, which Dr. Liedtke hadn't identified, which I identified, and I've tried to tell them, but they don't seem to want to be. They're not very interested. But there we are. Such is life. So here we are. Again, this is the Canal Santa Cruz, and just a little further down and round the corner is the Sitio dos Marcos, plural. Now it's called Os Marcos, plural, because it was there in 1503 that Americo Vespuccio and Gonzalo Coelho, probably with Christopher and Jacques too, stuck one of the stone patrons. Here we are, and here we can get a better view of this here. You can see how the villagers have used it as a rubbish dump to throw rubbish down here, but this is the part that can be seen on the paintings and drawings. It's like a cliff. I really can't believe that this was hand dug. It would be thousands and thousands of cubic yards of material. I think it's a natural phenomenon. It's just a landslide, but probably from particularly rainy weather. You can see these on different hillsides on the island. So there we are. But you can see here, there's Maki. I hope she's not going to fall down there. Oi, where are you going? Get back up here. Come on, this way. No, we're going this way. Maki. Oh, you silly dog. I wonder if she's going to be able to come back up. There she is, going down the hill. Sliding down the hill. Oh, that's interesting. Now what are you going to do? Huh? What are you going to do? I'm going. Maki, come on. You've got to come back up here now. How are you going to do that? Okay, I'm gone. Bye. I'm sure she'll find her way back up. Okay, so, yes, there she is. She made it. She climbs trees. Where we're coming up to now, we're coming up to a fence line at the end of this land here in the village, where we start into a private property, but I do have permission to go in there. And there we can see the site, at least, where the Misericordia, the hospice, was situated. You can see this on Franz Post's paintings. Again, I'll point this out to you on the internet. You see the church as you look from right to left on the amplification of Itamaracá, the view of Vila Velha from the mainland. On the right hand side, the building you see is the church, which is there alongside my house. Then going to the left, the next building you see is the council chambers, the Stadthaus, which is where they built the water tower on top of it, or the water tank. And then further along to the left, we come to where I'm trying to get to now, which is where there was a church and the hospice, which is the organisation that was started in Portugal in about 1505, I think. The lads have been here cutting sticks for. They use these nice straight sticks for all sorts of things like fences and making fish traps down in the river and on the estuaries of the rivers to catch as the tides come in and go out again. As the tide comes in, when it's full, they spread the nets out and they're fixed on the sticks, and as the tide goes out, it leaves the fish stranded there. It's all high-tech stuff. Now here again, there's nothing to see. The stones were removed from here in 1917. They were taken from here. There was back in the 60s, there was an old guy here who reported this to the very same doctor who removed or put that water thing in the sacristy in the church in 67. He, talking with the old guys in the village here, they told him how that from here they took the stones in 1917 to build a wall around the cemetery that is behind the Slaves Church. So that's where a lot of these stones were reused for that type of thing, which, as you know, which is what we're talking about with the other stuff. Now I need to get. I'm not sure if I can cut through here. Let's walk a little bit. Where I want to cut across to now is, if you remember on the map, there's another redoubt, a small fort with a square tower, and it's there. It says that there were 25 soldiers stationed there. Well, that's where I want to get to now and show you that. Again, here we are. Here we have a much clearer view of the canal and Iguarazu. There's a lot of fires going on this time of year in all of South America. In Bolivia, the eastern Bolivia at the moment is just one pool of smoke where they burn off everything, the fields, the sugarcane fields, everything. Again, this is the Canal Santa Cruz. We can see, let's see what I can zoom in on here. That curve there, hang on, let's see if I can't get this in the viewfinder. What's it sort of about? That's roughly where the stone marcos were placed. The first one, as I said, in 1503 by Americo Vespuccio, and the second one in 1535 by Duarte Coelho when he came to take charge of his capitania. Of course, Vila Velha existed then. In fact, this is speculation. My speculation. I imagine that when he came to Vila Velha, he was so impressed with the view, as you saw behind the church, of the Coroa de Avión, and it's just absolutely beautiful. He didn't really want to live in Iguarazu, and that's when he went off and found his hilltop there in Olinda. And as the story goes, which is entirely anecdotal, that whoever was with him said, "Oh, lindo vista," and that's why it got called Olinda. Well, not too sure about that, but there we are. Okay, now I'm going to try and zoom in again. I don't have a tripod here. Although my hands, I'm not a dipsomaniac, but that's Iguarazu there with the buildings that are declared World Heritage, UNESCO. Well, here in Vila Velha, it's absolutely ironic. We have the oldest church. In 1976, 40 years ago, IFAN, the Institute of Patrimonio Histórico Nacional, started a process of declaring it heritage, national heritage. But of course, it was never finished. The process was never finished. I have some of the documents from that. And then again in 1979, when the state of Pernambuco decided to introduce their own heritage laws, it's called tombamento here, which actually means registry. They decided to declare it a heritage site here, in fact the whole village. That was started in 79 or 80. It was then forgotten about and they lost all the documents, and somebody in 89, 10 years later, decided to restart the process. So they cobbled together the previous documents and some bits and pieces and started again with a different number. And that process carried on. It got to the point where the state culture council, a non-elected group of 13 or 12 members, declared, they emitted the resolution declaring Vila Velha to be tombado, or said declared a heritage site. And from there, all that was required was that the documentation should be passed to the governor of the state, and he would homologar, verify with a state decree, so that it could be written in the book or the registry of heritage sites. That part was never done. So the whole of Vila Velha is in a sort of limbo. We have it's declared heritage site, but it's not written into the book. So it's you can take your pick on that one, whether it's real or not. Now I'm not sure if I have passed the point that I wanted to get to. I think I'm going to have to cut across to the right hand side here. So this part of the film might become a little boring. That looks like some sort of path here. Let's go down here and see what happens. Of course, the vegetation here grows so quickly too that it becomes difficult from almost from 1 week to the next. The place can change, and it becomes difficult to recognise the same place. I'm not sure that is a path to get down there. I'm going to turn the camera off here and get back onto the road.